Love's for beginners, ain't no winners. It slips through your fingers, I ain't telling no lies. So F all the drama, F the karma. Just do what you wanna, promise you got time. Be you and keep looking forward. Don't you look backwards and you'll be fine. Come through and say what you need to. Don't let them put you down. Baby, let me tell you what it feels like. Being independent, no trouble inside. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Let me tell you what it feels like. Being whose mama, yeah, to yourself right. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Come get your future, know you wanna. She'll never betray ya, she ain't telling no lies. So break the glass ceiling, find your meaning, make truth out of dreaming, yeah. Baby, let me tell you what it feels like. Being independent, no trouble inside. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Let me tell you what it feels like. Being whose mama, yeah, to yourself right. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Be you and keep looking forward. Don't you look backwards and you'll be fine. Come through and say what you need to. Don't let them put you down. Baby, let me tell you what it feels like. Being independent, no trouble inside. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Let me tell you what it feels like. Being whose mama, yeah, to yourself right. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life.
Hello, squaddies. Can everyone hear me? Happy Tuesday. Here's me hoping that we get a second season of Archetypes or the next Archful Audio Spotify series, and I can say Archetypes Tuesday or Archful Tuesday or something again. I'm really looking forward to a time where we can have something to look forward to, something positive to look forward to every single week. But for now, there is plenty to talk about. And I would like to say thank you once again for getting us to 14,000 subscribers. You are amazing. And we also actually hit 30k followers on Instagram. Amazing. I'm currently hovering at about 2,000 on TikTok, but I don't put that much effort in TikTok because I feel like YouTube is really my platform. When I was putting effort in TikTok, I did for like a week or two and it did start to grow. But it's just not my platform. And there's some amazing royal TikTokers, Sussex Squad TikTokers anyway. But I'm so grateful to everyone on this platform and on Instagram for always being here. You've been fantastic. Also, someone donated to buy me a coffee yesterday and said that they had issues donating via the button here on YouTube on live chat. Just so you know, for those of you that don't, YouTube does take 30% of whatever it is you give me on YouTube. So if you're having trouble on the YouTube platform, um just donate through Buy Me a Coffee or PayPal or Cash App, because to be honest, YouTube takes 30% of it and they're not doing enough to tackle all of the hater channels that they're profiting from. So um if you would prefer, if it's easier for you, and I would appreciate it if you did donate off of YouTube, because they're profiting so much and they're not doing a lot to curb the hate channels, and they're taking so much from us, the creators. So thank you so much for your support as always. Right, let's get straight into it. I think there's a couple people just coming from Baron, but I can see quite a few of the mods in here. So we can get started, and welcome everyone. So, some positive news. Harry popped up today looking very tanned. Either the Montecito sunshine is extra hot this week, or Harry and Meghan have been on holiday. No updates on the flooding, or whether or not it did a lot of damage or any damage to the house. I hope it didn't. Hope everyone in the Montecito area is okay, but there was an evacuation notice. But it seems like all is well, and Harry's looking very happy here and very, very tanned. Oh my. So he popped up for Well Child, and it was a 1 minute 30 video, and it was to announce the call for nominations for the 2023 Well Child Awards, to celebrate the UK's inspirational seriously ill children, young people, and those who care for them. And of course, Harry and Meghan were meant to be at the last Well Child Awards, but that day Lizzie passed. So they had to abandon their plan to go to the award show and tend to family matters. But great to see that he is still working with the charity that he cares about. Invictus has been posting loads. We are now 2 years away from the games in Canada, and obviously this year we've got the games in Dusseldorf in September. So lots of exciting things happening from Invictus, and they are very, very active actually on social media. So definitely go and follow and support their channels as well. And over here in the UK, we had an American visitor, Reverend Al Sharpton, who is a civil rights activist from the US. Himself and Jesse Jackson, I believe, are probably two of the most prominent civil rights activists in the US. I've seen their faces pop up often from pretty much the time I can remember. And he's been in the UK talking about the issues surrounding police brutality. And he went on Good Morning Britain and he spoke about that, and also the racism towards Meghan. And he made a comment about, so he commented on Jeremy Clarkson's comment. I have to say, I felt that Mr. Sharpton conducted himself very, very well. I'm pretty sure that his team had, discussed, the tone. And I'm pretty sure he is very much aware of the way things are here in the UK. And I felt that he definitely spoke truth to power, but in a way that was still relatively palatable for the pearl clutching ears of the UK audience. Because the last thing we would want is a lot of the right wing groups here to have anything to say about him. And so he spoke on, Jeremy Clarkson saying, why would you say something like that? And sorry, I think I might actually, better than me trying to paraphrase what he said, if I actually play it through the speaker, because I thought he put it very well. Let me see if I can actually find it. Gosh, did I like it? Yes, I did. So we can actually listen to it better than me trying to paraphrase it. All right, here we go. For those of you that haven't heard it, here it is. Oh,
There was a big fallout when Meghan Markle and Prince Harry left the UK. Lots of discussion, Reverend Sharpton, about racism within the media, the accusations that they made towards the coverage that she had faced as part of the royal family. And then you were very outspoken and critical of Jeremy Clarkson's column that he put in again in another national newspaper. He's since apologised to them profusely and tried to explain his scenario. I wonder what your take on that situation was, what Harry and Meghan Markle said that they were facing, reaction of the UK media to that relationship.
I think that when they were married, it was a beautiful day.
Right.
And people were celebrating how you saw this woman of color now in the royal family, gospel songs sung at the ceremony, the Queen sitting there. And then the reaction was so much acrimony and just looking to treat her differently. And people, whether you in the UK or around the world, that was always treated differently, understood what Meghan was going through. It was somebody black working in the C-suites for the first time, and they treat you differently. Someone walking down the street, and I think she became a symbol not of her own making. When you see the kind of mean-spirited article this guy wrote, for no reason, drag her through the streets and all. Yeah, fine, you can apologize, and many of us have said things not at that level that we could apologize for. But what makes you feel that you can say that in the first place?
Right.
And I think that in many ways they exposed what was already there, and then people tried to blame Meghan for they are being exposed.
that exactly. Brilliantly said. Brilliantly said. What makes you think that you can use language the way Jeremy Clarkson did? And we've now got a scandal in the UK where you've got several serving Met officers who are being exposed as arists, as abusers. These are people who are working with vulnerable men, women, children. Many of them who will listen to people like Jeremy Clarkson, what he said about Meghan, and be emboldened. And that is why what he said was so dangerous. On the other hand, I guess in many ways, sitting here in Lisbon, Portugal, no longer in the UK, I guess there's a part of me that's just kind of grateful that people like Clarkson and Piers Morgan have a platform, because now there are just no illusions. One doesn't have to gaslight themselves anymore. They have revealed what, as Al Sharpton said, was already there. It was already there. They were just not saying it out loud. Now they're saying it out loud. And for whatever reason, they just feel so emboldened to go after Meghan in this way. And they don't seem to realize. They think that we're looking at this thinking, oh, it's just because they dislike Meghan. Meghan is a symbol for many things. And this is symbolic annihilation. We know that it's not just about Meghan, it's about everyone who stands for what Meghan stands for. So, well said to Mr. Al Sharpton. Okay. On a slightly funnier note, right, do we all remember, oh gosh. So sorry, guys and dolls. My apartment is lovely, but it's right on the main street. So always a lot of noise here. Right. Do you all remember the false alarm from Jason Lee, who is a US gossip blogger who's trying to make himself the next Shade Room? And everyone online was like, oh my God, Jason Lee's going to get sued and this, that, and the third. Listen, they were never going to sue Jason Lee. Why would the royals sue Jason Lee for creating a false alarm about the Queen's death when for the last 6 years they've said nothing about Meghan getting bullied by the press? Why would they do that? They would expose themselves. And here this guy is at every single Grammy party, rubbing shoulders with the stars, and he really actually blew up after that whole false alarm. I mean, it was literally trending. And everybody was like, oh, this guy is finished. He's literally a star now. I will cry myself to sleep because that could have been me. I'm just too much of a good girl to raise false alarms about people's deaths like that. But this guy is literally just a star. There he is sitting with Cardi B at the Clive Davis party. Like here's you said, indeed, when Harry announced her relationship, I said Meghan may well be the Trojan horse that will real talk about expose real talk about race relations in this country. Yes, she really was. And you also said Meghan got into that family because that is where God wanted her to be, and he took her out of there. Yeah, took her out of there, took Harry out of there as well. Like God and Diana doing the work together for real. Because who else could have? What other type of woman would have rescued Harry from this cult? Right. Some other interesting stories. There is a Meghan lookalike out here on the TikToks. She's saying that people troll her for looking like Meghan. She has over 600,000 views on TikTok, and but she has come out and said that she's never trolled in real life, but just online. Now I found this interesting because it really speaks for who the trolls are. They hide behind avatars, they hide behind their online personas, and they even troll Meghan lookalikes. Like, how sad is this? She says most of the hate is directed at Meghan specifically and just telling me that I shouldn't be proud to look like her. I mean, I do think they look rather similar, but mostly she's just a very beautiful young woman with smooth and bright skin. And honey, we know who most of the Meghan haters are. She says, generally, people say good things, but the most common one online being, wow, I thought this was Meghan. You look just like Meghan, she's beautiful. Right. She is rather beautiful, but I just can't believe that Meghan lookalikes are getting trolled. On to the next thing. Right, the lady, we probably shouldn't call her a lady, actually. The individual who slapped Harry's bottom and took his V card is continuing to do her press tour, even posing next to a horse. I literally can't. In his book, Harry said that the lady in question liked horses, and here she is posing next to a horse. I mean, go.
Well, next question. See ya.
So you had Dan Whatnot, who came out and said, after the crude and misogynistic disclosures in Spare, Prince Harry only has himself to blame for Sasha deciding to tell her own story. No wonder Meghan has raised concerns. He never said her name. He never said her name. Nobody knew who this woman was. And then she's saying that she had to tell her dad. Lady, you are in your 40s. You don't have to tell your dad anything about anyone you were romping around with. Oh, the desperation, y'all. The desperation. Also found this very interesting series of posts on Twitter. So back when the tabloids originally reported about Harry and Meghan's early romance and where they went on the dates, they painted it as if they went on this super expensive safari. And actually, they were just up in a tent in the wilderness. So again, you can see how they just spin something out of nothing, talking about 1,500 a night safari camp when they were in a tent. Oi. All right, go to your comments. Thank you so much, Rose. Thank you all for watching as always. Choda CC said, if only her father was savvy enough to foresee his daughter was a powerful woman in the making. He chose to be part of the royal clown against his own better judgment. Yes, very sad. Yeah, Gwendolyn, that's actually true. Some fool could go after her thinking she's Meghan. Yeah, Gwendolyn, someone paid that fool. Because really, like, this is what you want your claim to fame to be? Nobody knew your name. And to be honest, I don't think anyone other than the tabloids were even searching for who this woman was. Yes, Mina, they'll do anything for clout. Yes, C-Mac, that is so true. She took the check and Simon Rex refused. Oh yes, Jalen, she's going for it. Going for every last penny she can get from this. Rochelle, you don't believe her. Do you think it's someone else? All right. On to the next thing. So, Samantha Markle, the half sister, is going ahead with her court case. I'm still completely confused as to what she's suing Meghan for. Meghan's never said anything defamatory about her. She's just corrected a lie. This is gonna go nowhere. She's wasting money. And also, when it comes to court cases, I mean, isn't this also to some degree costing the taxpayer? So yeah, this is the filing. I'm not going to read it out because I'm just tired of Samantha Markle. You can pause and read it if you want to, but she has actually gone ahead and filed. But she does say to date the Duchess has not agreed to schedule one single deposition, and there has been no order from the court granting or denying the joint motion to modify the scheduling order. Does anybody know? Are there any laws, or what? I'm sure there are laws, but what are the laws on, like wasting the court's time or trying to use the court of law to harass people where there is no case? Are there any kind of laws in the state of California that look at that? Because that's what this seems like to me. And I'm also wondering, where is she getting the money to hire a lawyer? Is this lawyer working for her for free? Do they have some kind of deal going on? Is she quietly being funded by the Fail? Especially if she's appearing on Dan Whatnot show. It seems like there's something else in the background driving this. because I don't know where she's getting her confidence from. Miss Mac, Meghan needs to make her pay her court fees. Well, I'm wondering, is she paying her court fees? Um, do you mean Meghan needs to? Oh, Meghan needs to make Samantha pay her court fee. Okay, I see what you're saying now. Yeah, I'm hoax. The things people would do for their 15 minutes of fame, indeed. I mean, Meghan could easily countersue if she wants that heat. But then if Meghan countersues, then it becomes more of a story. See, all of this is why I'm saying, or I'm speculating, that the Daily Fail or some other entity is behind this. And I just feel like this is all about generating headlines. And if Meghan wants to countersue, well, that's more headlines. Oh, thank you so much, Stacey. Thank you for watching. And I think you have a member symbol next to your name. So thank you for being a member if you are one. Right. LDSW said US courts have the ability to sanction the party and attorney who files a frivolous case. Thank you very much. That is good to know. Rochelle, the court will order you to pay the lawyer and court costs for fake claims. Good. Carl Alston, many plaintiffs' lawyers work on contingency. Oh, so kind of like a no-win, no-fee situation, right? Yes, Lottie, I cannot understand what Scammy is suing for either. Right, on to the next thing. Piss Moron is at it again. So Dr. Shola posted this on Twitter. She said, "Oh dear, if Pierce wants me on his show, he can call me his damn self to hear the answer. He'll get a no. Roping in Me Too and whataboutism on educating boys is an unserious gaslighting angle to minimize the atrocities of Carrick. Ending misogyny-motivated crimes is not a debate." So this is in response to an email that Dr. Shola got from a booking agent who works for Piss Moron. And Carrick, if you don't know, is one of the Met officers who was charged. He was using his position to abuse and are women. And the booking agent sent this email to Dr. Shola. They said, "Hello, Dr. Shola. I hope you are well. I'm a freelance booker covering over at Piss Moron for this week. In his show tonight, live at 8 p.m., Piers wishes to debate and discuss the topic of toxic masculinity and the story of giving school lessons to teenage boys, and if that infers that boys are potential S-pests. And he also wishes to discuss the Me Too movement whether the Me Too movement has gone too far, as well as other angles of toxic masculinity, and of course reflecting on the sentences of Carrick today." Now, this is the story in question. Someone who worked in the Met and was literally called Bastard Dave. Because we have a culture in the UK of what they like to call banter. That's like the UK version of locker room talk. And how you can sit there and try attempt to create a pointless debate where you would try to minimize the concept of toxic masculinity, especially in relation to Carrick. And you know, at a time when we're trying to have more progressive conversations with boys and men. And you know the way that Piers Morgan's show is set up, how that would have gone down. And Dr. Shola knows how that would have gone down. And I don't think it is a bad thing to have healthy conversations with young boys and men about these things, because they happen. If you don't have these conversations, you just leave them open to being influenced by the likes of Andrew Tate. So very disingenuous by Piers Morgan here, especially in light of such a serious charge, because this is someone who was in a position of trust. And good on Dr. Shola for just saying, you know what, I'm not going to bother with you. Like, this is insulting. And like she said, ending misogyny motivated crimes is not up for debate. It's just not, especially not on Piss Moron's platform when he has used his platform to abuse women, whether it's Meghan, whether it's Ariana Grande. He came after her after the Manchester bombings. After that girl was traumatized, he decided to come after her. He went after Simone Biles after she was struggling at the Olympics. And we know why Simone Biles was struggling. She was struggling because she was going back into a space where she had been abused the years prior. So forgive her for having a bad day. And what does Piers Moron do? He uses his platform, he uses the Daily Fell to attack her. He wrote an article attacking her when she was at her lowest. So I just think that eventually people have to stop engaging with Piers Morgan, and I would hope that what Dr. Scholler decided to do here is the beginning of it, because the ratings for his show are going down, and the less people engage with him, the more they'll go down. Right. To your comments before we go on to the next thing. Got quite a couple of things to get through today. Levy Hemmings, the fail needs to save every penny with all the upcoming lawsuits. Yes. Here's me hoping that those lawsuits are just the end of the fail. Jessica, this is just a filing. It won't even go to discovery. I hope so. Yes, Mrs. Mack. This is just a ploy to draw Meghan out. Queen Bee, sanctions are available for frivolous cases. Good. Yes, Stacey, I want to know who's paying for her legal fees as well. Ethan's husband, yes, it's called abusing litigation. Thank you. I'm getting a law education. Thank you, Lucy Wynn, for always reminding everyone. Thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. ODS W said the sanction can be a fine payable to the US court or require the party and attorney who filed the frivolous case to pay court and attorney fees. See the case of Trump and attorney being fined $1 million US. Thank you so much for letting us know what is going to happen to Samantha Markle. Now we know how this saga is going to end. Oh, I don't know why they try. Did you hear about what's her name? Who's that woman who's on Talk TV, the blonde one? Is it Veronica something? Vanessa something? She's I've forgotten her name, but she divorced her partner recently. This is just another one who often goes after Meghan. I've forgotten her name though. To be fair, she did go after Angela Latrine once, but she has been nasty about Meghan before. Yes, Jasmine P. It's so horrible the way people attack Simone Biles. Given how well she's done, competition after competition, and she had a weak moment. And there is definitely a culture I'm seeing, and we're going to talk about this when I get on to Beyoncé, of humbling Black women who are exceptional in their fields, whether it's Simone Biles, Serena Williams, Beyoncé, Meghan. There's just this obsession with humbling Black women. Jasmine P. Yes, he attacked Naomi Osaka. He also attacked Madonna, Lady Gaga. Basically bullied her after she talked about her experiences with harassment and assault. I think that he has his own skeletons in his closet, and he's gotten away with it, likely with the help of Murdoch. Yes, Vanessa Feltz, that's the one. They weren't married, but I think they were together for some time. Oh, is that the guy's name, Ben? Yes. I think they were together for over a decade or something. Right. On to the next thing. The Kate and William Boston tour. So we all wondered how much it cost Bostonians. We know that it cost us. How much did it cost the US? Well, according to this article, 170,000 US dollars. William and Kate's visit to the US last year for the Earthshot prize award ceremony cost the host city Boston $170,000. It has been reported. The event last December was one of the highlights of the Prince of Wales's official calendar. The primary focus of their trip to Boston was the awards ceremony for the Earthshot Prize, an initiative set up by William. Upon their arrival, their spokesperson was forced to immediately address the controversy surrounding William's godmother, who had asked a charity executive Ngozi Fulani where she was from. And then on to the actual price breakdown. Most of the costs went on extra policing required for the royal visit, totaling over 100,000. A further 58,000 was spent on staging tents, flowers, lights for the events the Prince and Princess of Wales attended. Around 5,000 was spent on security and custodial overtime, and the rest was reportedly made up with the staff costs for the emergency medical for the staff costs that the emergency medical services needed. Wherever they go, they seem to cost a lot, but they seem to give nothing and show up empty-handed. It's take, take, take. Sorry. Um, 1988 champions. They feel that black women don't know their place when we reach the top of their fields. Yes, our place is not in those circles. Anastasia, he doesn't like to be rejected by a woman. No, he doesn't. I feel like he is going to get the biggest karma of them all. You can't just run around the way he has throughout his whole life. Bullying people. Like, here's just saying you can't hear me. Can anybody else not hear me? Is everybody else hearing me okay? Just let me know in the chat box. I don't want to sound muffled. Okay, you can all hear me. All right, maybe refresh, Han. Yes, Eleanor. Who paid for the celebrity performers? Who paid for them? Right. On to some celeb news. Congratulations to Viola Davis. She becomes the third black woman in history to receive EGOT status. So that's Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. Am I getting that right, my American friends? Following Jennifer Hudson and Whoopi Goldberg. Amazing and well deserved. Viola is an incredible actress, and I think she's slowly getting the flowers that she deserves. But apparently, the BBC cannot tell between Viola Davis and Beyoncé. So they had this on a showbiz report where they had Beyonce's big night over Viola's phase, and then they later came out and apologized and said, "We apologize for the mistake last night when our news press channels briefly showed a photo of Viola Davis from January's Golden Globes alongside a headline about Beyonce at yesterday's Grammys. This fell below the BBC's usual standards." Oh, baby, your standards are forever low. Forever low. I don't know what you're talking about below the usual standards. Like, this sloppiness is your standards. Although I have to say, these news channels are getting more and more social media savvy, and I feel like sometimes they just do these things to cause fake outrage, and it wouldn't actually surprise me if they did this on purpose. Right, on to other glamorous friends of Meghan news. Beyonce, the Beyonce. So, tickets went on, well, they went on sale, pre-sale a couple of days ago. They went on general sale today. I was in the queue for like 3 hours. Now, I'm actually meant to be in Poland, Warsaw, when Beyonce's in Poland, Warsaw, but I could not get tickets. And so I've actually had to book tickets for the London show. So I actually do have tickets, but the Beyonce is making me fly back to that island just to see her on tour. Only Beyonce could make me do that. Otherwise, I could not get tickets for the Warsaw show. And the few tickets that I've now seen are somehow actually more expensive than the London ones. So I'm going to be going back to London literally for a day. Literally, I am literally only going back for the Beyonce. I saw this really funny TikTok, and it was like people that couldn't afford to buy eggs a couple of weeks ago suddenly have money to buy tickets for Beyonce.
Wait a damn minute. Wait a damn minute.
Like literally. So has anybody else got tickets? Is anybody else going to see Bey? I have never seen her. This is my first time seeing Beyonce. So I am gonna see Beyonce and Meghan in the same year. That's crazy. I'm going to Invictus in September as well. Not wait. But sticking to Beyonce for a sec, and circling around the conversation that we were having earlier about, the business of humbling Black women, and when you reach a certain level in your in your career, when you really not only do you move into elite circles, but you essentially become the bar. Beyonce has raised the bar so high. She's now the most decorated artist in Grammy history. And she lost our album of the year, though, to Harry Styles. And there was a big discussion about this, and a comment that Harry Styles made. And he said, "Things like this don't happen to me." And, a lot of people said, well, you are an able-bodied white man. And was what he said tone deaf? This was a discussion that was being had. Now, do I think what Harry Styles said was tone deaf? Yes, I do. However, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Harry Styles is British, and he was standing on an American stage. And it's interesting that there isn't a stage as big as the Grammys in the UK. And when you look at how the press in the UK treats successful people, they literally build you up to knock you down. And what do most UK stars do when they get to a certain level in their career? They go running to the US. So to a certain degree, I could kind of understand what he was saying as also a working class person and a British person who had to go to the US to stand on a big stage like that. But nonetheless, a lot of people feeling that it was a bit tone deaf. there was an interesting piece in Variety, and this was from a anonymous voter at the Grammys, and this is what he said. This is a music business veteran in his 70s. Bear that in mind, please. A music business veteran in his 70s. He said, I try to be ecumenical, but there's a significant percentage of music I've never heard. So you're voting, you're a Grammy voter, a so-called music business veteran, but you're saying there's a significant percentage of music you've never heard. The bar is so low for these people. It's a lot of work to listen to all of it. Bearing in mind the Grammys hails itself as this is the pinnacle of music. I've never believed that. But that is how they present themselves. But he's saying it's a lot to listen to. He goes on to say, I guess I'm a bad voter because I didn't do my diligence. Well, you're not a bad voter, sir. You shouldn't be voting at all. But that's my right. So he's saying he's a bad voter, but that's his right. I voted for ABBA. They used to get short shrift because they were dismissed as pop fluff, but I've always been a fan. Their new album is not their best ever, but it's pretty good. I really hope they win something, but I doubt they will win. I wouldn't have voted for Adele's Easy on Me if ABBA wasn't in the category. Now he goes on to talk about album of the year. Again, ABBA. With Beyonce, the fact that every time she does something new, it's a big event and everyone's supposed to quake in their boots. It's a little too pretentious. Listen to the tone of that. Does that remind you of anything? I have always said that in the highest C-suites of the music industry, they are very jealous of Beyonce. Whether or not you are a fan, she is the biggest deal in music. And yes, it's not that everybody's supposed to quake in their shoes. If you're not a Beyonce fan, then you're not a Beyonce fan. That's fine. But people do. And even people who aren't fans of Beyonce recognize the talent, they recognize the work ethic. A work ethic that not many in her industry have. And then he goes on to say this about Harry Styles. He says, I hold Harry Styles' origin story against him. He's from a boy band and I never took those acts seriously. So this is someone who's a so-called music business veteran in his 70s. And this is what he has to say about the artist that he's voting for. Mind you, while I do believe that Beyonce should have won over Harry Styles, I will still give Harry Styles his flowers. One Direction was one of the biggest boy bands in the UK and became one of the biggest boy bands in the world. There is nothing lesser about coming from a boy band, and all of those boys were from working class backgrounds. So good on them. But this is who is voting at the Grammys. And the bar is so low for them. And I think they are very envious that artists like Beyonce, a black woman, has set the bar so damn high. And you see it, you just see it across the board, whether it's Beyonce, whether it's Serena, whether it's Lewis Hamilton, Simone Biles, Tiger Woods. They were talking about this on Barron's podcast yesterday. Like the envy is real. It's so real. Despite the fact that when we do get to these positions, there are so few of us. And of course, with Meghan. Anywho, that is enough from me. I will end with your comments. Or does anybody wanna come up? And because I haven't had a call in, please keep it focused on the topics that we have spoken about today. I'm gonna gonna introduce some new rules when it comes to call-ins, but if anybody does want to call in, please keep it to the topics that we're talking about today. Please don't go off a topic, but I will read people's comments, and if anybody does want to come up, there is the link in the chat. Okay. But otherwise, in general, I didn't have anything else to say. I'm just going to finish with comments, and if anybody comes up, they come up. Right. When do you think Beyonce got robbed for Grammy's Album of the Year? Yeah. And she's been robbed year after year after year after year. I do think, though, one has to remember who runs these award shows, and maybe it's actually just time that we stop putting so much weight on award shows, whether it's the Grammys, whether it's the Oscars, Golden Globes, whatever it is, because yeah, Beyonce didn't win Album of the Year, but the Renaissance tour has pretty much sold out in a day. So really, what is the Grammys? What is the Grammys? Show the CC said, and I wish majority will have your concept and understand how the zeitgeist world operates. The British anti-American are anti-American, yet they go flocking for every morsel of fame. Centuries ago gold, reputation matters. Well, the thing is, it's not that Britain doesn't even have the power to create the platforms and star power that America has with its stars. It's the culture that stops that. This tall poppy syndrome, right? The tallest poppy in the field always has to get cut down. Whereas American culture is completely different. You're encouraged to be ambitious. Success is celebrated. In every light, good and bad, whether you're a Beyonce or a Donald Trump. Whereas in the UK, it's a very select group. And if you are lucky enough to be, from a background where you didn't have everything handed to you, but you work your way up, you're still expected to humble yourself and bow down. That's the difference in the culture. Right. Legs, I'm going to let you go first. Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, Legs.
All right. Well,
Wait, Legs, is this the first time that you're calling in?
No, I called in, it might have been October at some point.
Oh, okay. So it's just I forgot that you were a guy.
Yeah, no, it's been a while. No, Church Nelly, I just got to do a shout out to her. She's awesome because she always... and hey, Olivia Harris for also recognizing. But yeah, no. So what bothers me a lot of times, and when I see stuff like this too, is that we've had so many incredible women of color that have been doing amazing things throughout the years. You have Beyonce, you have Serena, you have Meghan, you have they literally have to change and reinvent themselves or reinvent anything new on their part or highlight all of the different discrepancies in our society. Like when she did Formation tour, it was amazing, and Homecoming, it was amazing. And to never give her credit sometimes always reminds me to be remember, stay in your place. You shouldn't try to ascribe. We will continually praise you for your accomplishments, but you will never get that album of the year because we don't think you deserve it yet. If it's someone new like a Ed Sheeran, if it's a Taylor Swift, and no knock to them, and Adele. I'm love that Adele actually came out in support of Beyonce for Lemonade.
Oh yeah, when she won, yeah, I remember that.
And Lizzo even did a call for Beyonce during the Grammys. Everyone recognized how Beyonce has been slated over all these different years and how much she has done and brought to the industry. And yet they still want to slide her just remember, we just want you to know we still hold the cards. And it bothers me that, one, sometimes Black men, not Black men in general, just men in general, don't speak up for these atrocities and the misogynoir for women, particularly women of color that are going through this. And it's a little bit bothering. But
I think the whole the Megan Thee Stallion, Tory Lanez case is a good example of that.
I definitely agree. And it's just it's very bothersome to see none of the support. But the thing is that you do get support, but people don't highlight the support that these women are receiving. So for instance, even when Al Sharpton said this today about, like how Meghan was being treated by the media, you saw how quickly that news anchor, I don't even want to bring in his name, whatever his name is that like, Jeremy Clarkson apologized profusely. And I'm like, whoa, wait, when did he apologize to Meghan?
Yeah.
He sent me an email. And even in his apology to everyone, he's like, can I move on with my life? Like it's a blip on his actual life. And I'm like, whoa, first of all, it's that person that's the victim to feel like that, that you seemed, actually remorseful and actually, contrite for what you did. And he did not at all. And so Al Sharpton answered that very directly. And you see how exactly GMB, in a sense, you see how they realized they were talking to an American person. They did not go for all that fantastical stuff. They were very careful with their words, but then they still tried to debate him.
Yes.
But that the BBC, like what you just have right now, didn't recognize Viola Davis versus Beyonce. How can you confuse those two? From I Am Bizarro World, like what is this?
It reminds me of when they called Tyler Perry a rapper.
Right? Like, what? And so I watch all this, and we brought up the other day, when I see all this anti-Americanism in the British media, and the thing is that you brought up before, like, I just noticed most Americans, because to be fair, America's really huge. You can go from a state to state, county to county, things are so different. Sometimes it's very easy to not pay attention to what's happening throughout the world. So when someone's like, oh, this is royalty, and people in America like, okay, well, we don't care because we have a lot of celebrities here. We don't care about them, And so when I see people constantly trying to drill it down your throat, it does make sure that Americans, at least a lot of Americans, are like, why are you doing this? They're more skeptical. But when I see things like this, the BBC, oh, whoa, we didn't know. How in the world did BBC not know who Beyonce was or Viola Davis? Like two of the big, I just can't comprehend that. And I think a lot of times it's gaslighting in a sense of, just pretend to recognize we don't care or know who you are. And you should recognize that, like, you're not as big as you think you are. And it's a way to put it. And the BBC, it's not, maybe I'm confused. I'm not British, obviously. Is that not a publicly funded institution?
Like, yeah, it is. We pay a licensing fee for it.
So I'm very confused by that. I would feel like someone would do some credibility of research. Look something up. You can even Wikipedia it. It'll be very easy. So I speak here because I typically, I speak in a chat, but I don't like talking as much. But it bothers me when I see people aggressively going against women of color, particularly because these women, they've raised our children, they've guided our children, and sometimes, as you can see in sometimes literature, people don't give enough space for them to speak their truth, and it bothers me in the sense that sometimes I don't feel like enough people do enough to uplift them due to the fact that, like, they are the shining stars. So right now we have 3 EGOTs. We have Viola, we have Jennifer, and we have Whoopi. Isn't that weird that we only have 3? And and I want to speak for even other people from like even British. Like I would love to see a British EGOT. Like it's just it's bothersome. So so I speak to this in terms of saying that sisters and people of color, or people that are actually in terms of allies, and I will say besides allies, advocates, that thank you for your work. And people, like particularly women of color, we see you, we hear you, we appreciate you, and we love you. And thank you for all that you do.
Oh, thank you as well, Lex, for your amazing words. Thank you for coming up.
No problem. Have a good day.
You too. Valerie, hello, how are you?
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Anne. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Nice to hear from you.
I think the issue is that, United Kingdom now has come it's lost its freedom of thought, freedom of. Do you remember when we were in the EU and they had that guy who did 12 years of slave? He and his partner, they were living in Holland, and he was funded by the Dutch. So do you remember the time they had all those awards? That's the time when England was getting awards and things like that. I think what's happened is with the everybody slowly believing the lies of the billionaire writers.
Oh, that was sorry, his name was it Steve McQueen?
Yes, Steve McQueen. Yes.
Yeah.
And because the year before that they had the King's Speech, and a host of them got they got a lot of awards for the King's Speech.
Yes.
And they used to have a lot every year. They used to have a lot of awards when they were in the EU. They got because basically, even if England didn't fund them, they got funding from the EU. They automatically got funding from the EU. And what has happened now is that I strongly believe that there has been a lot of anger and bitterness that people, when we were in the EU, we got funding from the EU. So now it's like everything has gone back to like it's a 1950s or like 1950s where you know your place, and that is one of the reasons why there is anger and bitterness because and it's anger and bitterness because of if you are successful. And also another thing too, they are showing this like of not I don't know if you ever saw Great Expectations when he said not for the likes of us. So that is being reinforced all the time. And it's only when I think it was a Labour government came in the 1960s when you broke. That's why you got really acts like even with the Rolling Stones. Like I think one of the guy, the drummer, and not the drummer, it was the guitar players. He and his brothers were successful artists, and they were able to do it because they had the Labour government. They had all that investment. We don't have that investment anymore, and what's happened is that as you rightly said, and I'm devil advocate because I realize Harry Styles does make very good music, but I think that she should have got it. She shouldn't have got it this year. She should have got it last year, or wherever she should have got it. And I was also wondering if it might not be better for her not to go to the awards, and then she may get it. I don't know. I also think too, I think these Grammys and things like that, yes, it's nice to get the award. Yes, we want to get the award. But sometimes I think maybe
is it worth it really? Because it's almost like you're giving them the power. And like I said, the tour tickets went on sale today and they're sold out. So what's the Grammy?
That's what I was thinking. What is the Grammy? Because what happened is that my daughter's got tickets for I think she got a ticket to see her. I think she's seen her in Tottenham or something like that of Beyonce. But I do wonder because, like, for instance, even with that guy, he used to make what's that actor that very successful. He was one of the most successful actors. And he's a highest box office. The one who plays in Marvel. What's his name again? I can't. Sometimes it's my name splits it. And they eventually had to give him an honorary Oscar because he was so good.
Chadwick Boseman.
Not Chadwick. The other one, the one who played in Marvel. The one who played. He had. Remember he played a guy with who lost his eye. He played in 51 states.
Oh gosh, is there anyone in the comment section who remembers? Okay, make your point about him.
Yes, and then eventually they gave him an honorary Oscar.
Oh, is it Samuel L. Jackson?
Yes, Samuel L. Jackson. They gave him an honorary Oscar, and I just feel that sometimes we put so much emphasis on the Oscars, the Grammys, and things like that, and it's not thing. And also another thing too. With the Grammys, Why are these people who don't know music? Why are they? Because
Voting.
also, even, do you remember the Brits, how they used to behave? It was like that until people showed no interest, and then when people started winning, who really was successful, then they think. So I just feel the problem is it's this right wing conspiracy. You must know your place, so and so, and that's what the problem is. There's no freedom.
Mm, mm. All right. Thank you so much, Valeria. I think you're very
Thank
much
you very
right.
much.
And you always lovely to hear
Thank you
from
very
you.
much for having me. Good night, everybody.
Good night. All right, Rahini, as always, you can take us out this evening. You actually came in before Valerie, but I was like, no, Rahini's gonna go last.
Yeah, I'm at work. Hello.
Hello. Oh wait, one sec, Rahini. Sorry, I just wanted to say thank you so much to Legs. You're absolutely amazing. Thank you for your support. Um, you are all kings and queens too. Thank you. I hope you all keep thriving as well. Thank you, Legs. The support is much appreciated. All right, go on, Rahini.
Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Yeah. Um. well, you said a lot about the idea that as um a black person succeeding, there's always this machine that tells you you could come far, but not too far. And
Mm,
it's as if they are afraid of something.
mm,
And I always wonder what it is you're afraid of, because if you remember history, you would know that um back in the day, rap music was not covered under the Grammys,
mm,
right? They didn't cover it, and this was when rap music had already crossed over into the mainstream. This is in the, I think it was only in 1990s, and then even then they pick and choose. I mean, I'm no fan of either of them, but if you stack up Cardi B to Nicki Minaj, there's no way that Nicki Minaj should not have some Grammys, right?
mm,
And she's spoken out, she's been very vocal about her fight with them, talking about the
mm,
unfairness, talking about how it is you can have these people who don't listen to the music judge the music. If you
mm,
judge the quality of the music, you judge it based on the statistics. And with, technology now, it's not hard to figure out whose music rise to the top and who doesn't, right?
mm,
You go on album sales, you go on downloads, you go on streams, the information is there. It is not difficult to do, but yet it's still this small group of men, and usually men, that have so much power, and they don't want to let go of this power. And anytime people of color rise to that point where we, like you said, we don't just cross the bar, but we set the bar. It's as if they're afraid of something. And I'm like, what are you afraid of?
So that
What
just
are you afraid of?
it's interesting you said so go on downloads and streams to judge the music, but is that all music should be judged on? And how do you actually judge, because it's so subjective, right? If you were just going on downloads and streams, then it would just be a popularity contest. But if you're going on the quality of the music and what gets good music, how do you actually judge that? And perhaps I don't really think there is like a straight way that you can judge that, because then you're saying that this one group of people get to decide. And so should there even be this Grammy committee? Should there even be this Oscars committee that decides, what is the finest music, finest movies? That should there even be that at all? Should we maybe just have these award shows where people go and perform, and we have a sing and dance and laugh along, instead of handing out awards?
Well, okay, if we're looking at somebody like Beyonce, you could judge that Beyonce's music is quality because of how many artists literally copy her. You
Mm,
could judge the same thing on somebody like Michael Jackson. If I am the one setting the standard, then obviously my standard is better, right? But when you this is why you have different categories, because you can't judge country music and rap music with the same vein. You can't. So they've already divided it in a way that you could take away a bit of the subjectiveness and go with what the people want. Because if you're telling me that I am the greatest artist of all time, there is a way to judge that, because it means that want to hear me people want to hear me, so they will buy the tickets, they would go to the concert, they would download the music, they would pay for the music. This is how you know that I have reached there. Because even with technology, even with it being so easy to create a music video, to put an album out there, the best music still rises to the top. It still does.
Mm.
Right. And there's a part of me, a little shady part, that sometimes think that maybe, black people should be a bit discriminatory. And if one day black artists completely withdraw from these spaces, and because the thing is, for them to evaluate the music, the artist put it up there. They have to say, okay, evaluate my music, and whether or not it is worthy, give me the award. They have to submit it. So what if I don't submit it? What if I said, no, you can't judge my music? I don't care. We boycott every single one of these spaces, right? Because that was one of the reasons why BT was there.
Yeah,
BT,
to
the
give the
BT
music a
Awards was there
platform.
before
Yeah.
the Grammys was giving out music awards for rap music. They were giving awards for rap music. So what if we withdraw it and do like Tyler Perry says, stop trying to stop asking for a seat at the table and build our own?
Okay.
They're going to be angry, right? They're going to be upset, because the reality is, as people of color, we are entertainment. We are the workforce. We create. It is our nature to
But
create.
it's interesting you say that people of color should withdraw, and I actually do think that they should. But I actually think if everybody from the industry withdrew, it would actually benefit everyone. Because why are you allowing this small group of people to um have so much control? But there was quite an interesting post that was on Instagram. This is from Grimes. And she responded to Charlie XCX, who said, "Me not being nominated for a Grammy for Crash is like MIA Goth not being nominated for an Oscar for Pearl, and only further proves that people don't want to." Okay, she made some like weird comment, but then Grimes responded with something that was very interesting. She said, "The Grammys are so irrelevant. I wouldn't even sweat it. I stopped even clocking them in any capacity when I was on the Producer of the Year board, and they quite literally would not allow me to nominate anyone who wasn't on a pre-fabricated list that was exceptionally boring. I was one of 3 women and the only person under 40 for sure. It's literally not a relevant thing. I tried to nominate Sophie and was told that I was not allowed." So even behind the scenes, they're pulling the strings, and they're deciding who even gets put forward.
Yeah,
So
that's not nothing new. That, again, like I mentioned, Nicki Minaj, that's one of the things she spoke about. She had an argument with somebody from, I think it's Ken Lee or something his name is, from the Grammys, and one of her songs and how she would perform, and she was supposed to get the Grammy that year, and she didn't. They
mm,
change it like instantly. So this is how much power you have. And I'm wondering, why are we giving these people so much power, right?
yeah,
And so we have to ask ourselves now, with social media, with the ability to get, because there was a time when the Grammys were important, because it
yeah,
helped you as an artist grow, it helped you be recognized. Somebody who might not listen to your music, they
yeah.
might hear about it and so forth. But do you need it? I don't think you need it anymore.
No, I mean there
I
are
don't
s-
think it's needed anymore.
there are artists that I have literally discovered just because of TikTok. So I think you're
Yes.
right,
And
Rahini.
it's really, really good. It's
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
really good.
We definitely. I don't think we need the Grammys anymore. But with that, I will end things. I got my last question to you actually, because we haven't spoken for a while. Have you finished reading Spare?
I actually I had the audiobook. Yeah, I had the audiobook from the minute it came out, and I listened to it. I did not sleep. Stayed up all night and listened to it. And Can you say skank on your video? Because this woman, I cannot imagine being known for spreading my legs in a field and the man didn't even want to own you. He didn't even own you. Lady, he didn't even own you. He didn't even say what, like, you know how embarrassing it is to have a man say his experience with my precious poom poom was traumatizing. Oh my god. As a woman, you wouldn't feel shame. He said it was embarrassing. I want him
And
to say
he
it was the
was
best he ever had. She taught me everything I learned. Like, are you see? This is your claim to fame. I am ashamed for you. This is the
yeah,
best. You have a
and he was,
damaged poom poom.
he was so as I would expect Harry to be,
Ugh.
gracious enough not to say her name, and she still decided to come out. But do you know what? In a way, I guess I kind of knew this was going to happen, but now I understand why Harry just put all of this stuff out there, because they can no longer weaponize any of this
They
stuff
have
against him
nothing. They have
anymore, right?
nothing. They have nothing. And this should make the others very, very scared because you have nothing to use against me. And
Against
like I
him.
said, after me, the King Charles and Cammy is going to be untouchable. So
Hmm.
what who's gonna happen now? Poor Kitty
Hmm.
and Peg Peg. Uh-uh.
It's going to be very interesting,
Poor
but
Peggy. I feel bad for him. Poor Peggy.
uh, thank you so much as always, Rahini.
Bye bye, squad.
Bye. Bye. What an interesting start to the year that we have had, and it only just keeps getting more wild. I did not think that we would be here sitting here talking about this lady and looking at pictures of her standing next to a horse, and the Sun newspaper writing articles with diagrams of the field and the pub. But with that, I am done. Thank you as always for coming, everyone. You are amazing. Thank you, everyone who spoke, everybody who supports, the mods. And onwards and upwards, y'all. I'm sure there's so many things that Harry and Meghan have for us this year. Yes, Lightside, when you don't know when to stop talking, she's chasing clout. Oh my gosh, like this is gonna be on her gravestone. Because this is the most known she's ever gonna be. They're gonna put slapped Harry's bum on her gravestone. Right, who's gonna get the last word of the day? Louise, I'll give you the last word of the day. Great podcast, and thank you. God bless you. God bless you all as well. And I will see you tomorrow, my lovelies. Ciao.
Love's for beginners, ain't no winners. It slips through your fingers. I ain't telling no lies. So F all the drama, F the karma. Just do what you wanna. Promise you got time. Be you and keep looking forward. Don't you look backwards and you'll be fine. Come through and say what you need to. Don't let them put you down. Baby, let me tell you what it feels like. Being independent, no trouble inside. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Let me tell you what it feels like. Being no one's mama, yeah, treat yourself right. It's like magic, living like a bad bitch. 'Cause baby, you deserve the best in life. Come get your future. Know you wanna, she'll never betray ya. She ain't telling no lies. So break the glass ceiling, find your meaning, make truth out of dreaming.